have 4 kids, and when I started going through a divorce, we were homeless.
Well, at the time that the Housing Authority called me and notified that I was eligible to move in at the Ratekin Towers, I was not too far away from being on the street.
We were living in a hotel. So, massively, got us in a place, got a roof over our head, and I was able to finish school and get a job.
Homeless. I would lose my house, for sure, yeah. I was very close to losing it at the time, and I was in the process of getting SSDI, and it was just a very stressful time.
Before housing assistance, I was in the same house. I was, however, sharing it with my parents, which was a very small house to have my 3 children and myself in.
I lost my job 2 Christmases ago, and my wife lost her job at the same place, and we was trying to go live on Social Security. It didn't work.
I was constantly stressed out about how am I going to afford this? If my parents move out, how am I going to be able to do this? I mean, I can't do this house.
I had been living downtown. I had a problem with a neighbor. Because of it, I moved. I ended up homeless because my mom ended up in the hospital and 2 sisters threw me out of her house. And I was in and out of the shelter. I had caught a real serious lung infection, and VOA helped get me into Village Park.
It's hard enough just paying, for ramen and bologna sometimes. It's like, I hate to say that, but it's true. When you're making $9.25 an hour and you have 3 little kids, and at that time I wasn't getting any child support. So at the time it was extremely stressful.
Prior to having housing assistance, when my mom passed, I helped my sister get things ready to go, to close up that house, and ultimately the house sold. And I had no idea where I was going to go. A friend of mine said they'd be willing to rent me a room, and it was their first time really having a roommate since college, and my first time being a roommate since college, and it was just very, very uncomfortable. I had a room, and so I would go to work and go home to the room and go to work, and that became my life.
The company that I was working for went out of business, and found myself unemployed right at the height of the recession, and was unemployed. I got some small freelance jobs, but I was basically unemployed for 14 months.
We became homeless, and to be able to look for help was hard, because I've been so many times begging, I had my hip bad, ruined completely, and I was barely walking with a lot of pain, like needles in my hip and with my cane. And the first time when I went to ask for help, because somebody told me you can go in and ask for help.
My life is a little bit easier. I'm not as fretful as I used to be. I'm still fretful, but not like I was. I mean, before I met Debbie, I was a mess. I mean, I didn't know where our next meal was going to be coming from, let alone if I was going to have the rent money or not.
I love my apartment. Gives me and the cat someplace to stay. I'm over my lung infection, and use this as a stepping stone to put my life in order and move on.
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would have a nice, safe, wonderful place like this to live. I am so blessed. My children came and looked at it, and my one little girl said, well, she's not little, she's 23, said, "Oh, Mom, you're going to be so safe." And she met my closest neighbor, and she's in love with her also. And Bonnie has gone so far. She's helped me get food, shelter, obviously, and health insurance, which on Medicaid, and I would have known nothing about that had it not been for Bonnie.
I was advised by a friend to go see somebody at Housing Authority, and I'm really thankful I did. Almost the instant that I went to see Dawn, I could tell immediately she was really smart, really feisty, and more than anything, it made me feel like I had a knowledgeable partner helping me, which just changed I could breathe for the first time.
Well, Don saw me through some pretty hard days of wondering, well, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? You know, and then once it was all approved, and it was just like, wow, why did I worry about it? Because it was just, and now to be on it, to have the loan modification has just impacted my life in a positive way, in that just a reducement of almost $260 is huge when you're on disability.
Have my surgery, and I was walking with my walker. Then I was at the hospital when I received the notice I've been accepted in the program. At that point, I feel like a big, heavy thing from my chest oppressing me, like I can't breathe. I started breathing again. The light started coming more white.
The biggest things that you've helped out with is that I am able to, again, live in a nice home. It takes so much stress off. It's a quiet neighborhood, and I can study. That helps me further my education. It helps my children further their education. Just having that available and affordable, even though I've moved forward, I'm still not quite at the point where I can completely get off assistance, but I'm working towards that very quickly.
It's been really good, because if I had no place to live, I would be living with my parents.
Okay. So you've been able to support yourself on your own?
Yes.
Be able to work? And
Yes.
Because you've had help with your rent?
Yep. I worked at Wendy's for 23 years. I take care of a dining room.
When I start living again, painting, doing what I love to do, is today is a new opportunity, and is getting happier and happier because the chains are broken, and I am free, getting more free. That's why I call this a transition of freedom.
Housing Authority also helped my mother keep her place. She was also employed by the same company I was, and so she also became unemployed, and she was at an age where it was very difficult to find a job just because of her age. And so she was looking to get a loan modification. The bank wouldn't talk to her or my brother, and so finally they went to Housing Authority, and once again it was like suddenly the bank was a willing partner instead of a angry authority.
Suffering from depression, I always saw stuff as black. And my neighbors brought me out, Bonnie's brought me out, and like I said, nobody has looked at me and gone, so you have depression, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you know? And the other health issues, it makes it easier to deal with the other issues that I've had also. And I always felt less than, but here I'm just one of a group. And my little neighbor, I mean, if I don't come over in a day or two, she's not checking on me, but, calling me, you okay? And they genuinely care. It's not like, they're just doing their job. I mean, these people genuinely care. And I genuinely love them, and I'm so thankful.